This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Very good morning, sir. Able to hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so have we discussed yesterday? What did we discuss yesterday? Just to recap, I think we discussed yesterday analytical view creation,
Analytical
but
view.
we also have seen how aggregations perform practically in the system, correct? Or
Correct.
okay, so we created analytical view. Let me go to our package. Yeah, I am login. I will log in again in HANA Studio because doing some. Okay, so I think now fine. We created this analytical view, and we also understand, right, the different aggregations. For example, if you have some, we understood it will show unique values by by doing the sum of all the duplicate values. And also, if you do count, even here it counts the data and it will give. Same way when we do maximum. So this is what we discussed yesterday. Now let us create analytical view by putting in the data foundation some more tables and by using attribute view in the star join. Let us do that. So I'm going to create analytical view. The name is AN sales. So here I'm going to take, because in HANA user schema we have feedback, VBAP tables. I will use that. So VBAP, VBAP, let me link this WebLen and this WebLen. Now select the required field. We know we also need amount field because which is needed, because at least one measure is needed. For example, you don't know some field because you have a lot of fields like this, right? Let's say you have multi-field here, but you want to search it. So what you do, you just use Control F and you put multi, then this field is selected and you can select like this. If you don't want, you can deselect like this. So this we can do. So WebLen, we select whatever fields we want. Of course, network field is also required. So I'm selecting network where it is, because at least one. We also discussed if it is AB, it's an attribute. 1, 2 means a measure. Of course, if you see some date and time, they are date and time fields, but they also comes like attributes. Okay, now if you go to this data foundation star join, because in star join data foundation is already embedded. Whatever columns we select here, you can see the selected columns here. You can see the selected columns here. In the star join, data foundation is already embedded. In the star join, data foundation is already embedded. Now, if you go to the semantics, so we do auto assign. So when you select the auto assign checkbox, when you select the auto assign checkbox, all are automatically defaulted in the type. So you will get sometimes like this measure cannot be identified. Then identify the measure. Then do auto assign. See, now save and activate. If you do right click and data preview, Yeah, we don't see the data because of I need to see VBAC to VBAC. Maybe there is no common data. Yeah, WebLen, what join we have given. Okay, let me check. VBAC has data. Yeah, see the VBAC itself doesn't have data. So what I can do, I just remove this VBAC. First of all, you also have some VBAC tables. Yeah, this is has data. So I will use this. Now link this WebLen and this WebLen and select Matner. We can see the selected columns here. Then let's do auto assign once again. Now save and activate. It's activated and we can see the data. Same way we can give multiple tables here. And here in the star join, we can use only attribute views. I will use the attribute view in the star join, maybe AT Matner. You can look at here in the star join. If you go, you can link the fields from here to here like this. But what I want to show you is left table is always fixed as a data foundation. Whatever you drag or whatever views you use, because you can use here more than one view, attribute view. Whatever you use like this, if you observe during the join, left is always fixed. You need to go right and do the join, then select another, do the join, select another, do the join. You should do like that. You should do like so. Left is always data foundation. Data foundation means outcome of this selected field. So what we need to understand here is because we join the outcome of the selected field with the attribute use here. So we should make sure we have the common field. For example, we use this attribute view and this has this Matner field, so the common field. So you can join and you can choose your join and here what make sure you do not select the same fields. In case if they are really required, you should give the alias name. Now if I do save and activate, we can display the data. See, so you can also give multiple attributes here, but only thing is they are all comes under right side. For example, if I give an Matner 1, I select an Matner 1, I link this Matner and this Matner. No, not this one. Yeah, if you want to delete the link, I'll just check here. Just remove. Yeah, you should see the fields because here also MAKTX, here also MAKTX, so better you deselect. Or else when you activate the attribute name, is propose some alias name. Now we create it. Okay. So any questions still here? Is it clear? Okay. Now, what we need to discuss, if you go data foundation, here you have input parameters. In the star join, you have input parameter, restricted columns, calculated columns, and here we have parameters variables. We need to discuss this. So let's discuss calculated column, but before discussing calculated column here, if you go to attribute view, there also we have calculated column, which we have not discussed. So let us discuss here, but first let me show you what is calculated column. Calculated column is a new column or extra column which is derived from the existing column. For example, if I want to concatenate these two columns, or if I want to find out the length of any column, or if I want to convert lowercase or uppercase, if you want to do any this kind of things with the existing columns, then we go for calculated column. So calculated column is a new column or an extra column which is derived from the existing column. For example, if I want to concatenate serial number and name, so if I go to data foundation and calculated column, right click new, and here I just mention cal1, give some data type and length, and if you go to the column, I'm selecting serial number, then plus indicates concatenation name. You can also validate syntax, but there is an error saying, yeah, because here I did not give any concatenation symbol, right? So that's what it's giving error. Just click plus. Now see, it's correct. So what you need to do here, you also can write in the double quotes the column name, concatenation. You can also do this. You can also do this. Otherwise, you can select the columns like this. You can go ahead. So calculated column is a new column or extra column which is derived from the existing column. For example, if I do save and activate now, right click and data preview, you are able to see now which is concatenation of this and this. So calculated column is a new column, calculated column is an extra column which is derived from the existing column. So we are concatenating this and this and this. So let me show you again. I am going to create another calculated column. So select the calculated column, right click new. You can give any name which is relevant to your requirement. You have some naming conventions in real time, naming standards. Usually you give cal underscore whatever is needed. Give some label, data type and length. And here you can select what columns we are taking. If it is just give the column name. If it is concatenation, give plus. We can do same thing. Even we can do multiplications, divisions, and all. For example, if I want to convert to lowercase or uppercase, we can find here the function. we should explore those functions to find the length or uppercase or lowercase. Here you can see if you want to find the length, you have strlen, and here you need to mention for which column you want to find the length. For example, name, valid, expression, okay, save and activate. Not this. You can see the length 3 characters, 4 characters. For example, if I want to convert the department into lowercase, I'm creating another calculated column. Choose what is the data type of your calculated column and what may be the length of your calculated column. To convert either upper or lower case, you also find some functions. For example, this is to convert to uppercase. See lower, validate expression, view 3, cal 3. See it converted to lower case. Is it clear about the calculated column? Any questions? If you go to the analytical view, we also can do the same thing in analytical view. For example, yeah, I am deselecting some fields here, otherwise we can confuse, lot of fields will be there. This is our analytical view. I want to convert uppercase. This material description is in lower case, so I want to convert material description into uppercase. So I am going to calculated column folder, right click new calculated column. I am just giving cal material and some label and description and length to convert uppercase. So there is a function in the string function that is upper, and here I am going to give material number. I think it's a material description, not number. Valid syntax, save and activate. Now AN sales, right click and data preview, raw date. Now we can see here material description is converted into uppercase. So can I get responses in the chat box about calculated column? Is it clear? Okay. Now another thing we need to understand here, restricted column. So restricted columns are used to restrict the measures based on attribute values. For example, if I want to display the amount based on attribute value, for example, if the sales order number is so and so, then only I want to display amount. In other sales order numbers, I don't want to see the amount. Or maybe this document type, if the document type is KB, let's say the document type is TA, I want to see the amount. If the document type is TA, I want to see the amount. In rest of the cases, we don't want to see the amount. So if the document type is TA, then only we want to see the amount. In other cases, we don't want to see the amount. So in these cases, restricted column are used to restrict the measures. To restrict the measures means to restrict the amount or quantity field based on attribute values. Based on attribute values. So if I go here and if I go to restricted column, right click new, I can give here RC amount. Here if I look at this columns, anyone can tell me why I am able to see only network column here. Because we discussed, right, restricted columns are used to restrict the measures. So you can see only measures here. And here we see only attributes because based on attribute values. For example, this is like select the amount column where AURT equal to A. It's like that. Let's see what will be happen. You can see here when AA is there, then only we are able to see the amount. In remaining cases, we don't see the amount. If it is AUART, then only we see the amount. See? In rest of the cases, we don't see any amount. Why? Because we want to see only the amount when this is right. If I select this checkbox, right click that. See, if I do that, I am able to see amount in all the cases. But if AA, I am not able to see. It's like a reverse. If you select expression, it's like SQL code. If you select column, it's like UI option. You also have here greater than, less. You can use the operator what you want. So restricted columns are used to restrict the measure based on attribute values. Restricted columns are used to restrict the measures based on attribute values. Maybe some people will also say, can we do this using filters? Filters means, for example, you go to the document type and right click, yeah, because it is in data foundation, right? Right click, apply filter. If I do here AA, If you do like this, what is the difference for that before one and this one? In before one, we were able to see all the rows, but here we are able to see only these rows. In before one, we were able to see all the rows, but here we are able to see only these rows. Because in before one, we were able to see all the rows, but here we are able to. But this is not our requirement. Our requirement is we want to see all the rows. Only in case of that particular column, we want to, only in case of those particular columns, we want to do that. So that's why we use restricted columns. So restricted columns are used to restrict the measures based on attribute values. So we understood till now calculated columns and restricted columns. Is it clear? Can I get response in the chat box? Now let us go to the semantics and go to the parameters or variable, because now we are going to create either input parameter, and before that we need to create variables. To create variables, you need to go to this parameters or variable, and beside this plus C, create variable. And also another way is you go to the column, and if you select and if you click this create variable, if I select create variable, but if I select create variable is disabled, because create variable is only for attributes, not for measures. Variables are created only for attributes. Okay, what is attribute? What is variable? Till now, whatever we discussed, right? Those are all used to display all the data. Whatever we discussed attributive analytically, it displays all the data. For example, I am looking some employee data or some material or vendor data. If you display all the data, what is the use for me, right? Again, I need to find out that employee in the whole list, which doesn't serve our purpose. So in order to achieve that requirement, whatever I want to see, it should be displayed. For that, what we need to do, we need to create variables. Variables are like parameters and select options in ABAP report, which are used to display the data based on the input. So variables are used to display the output based on the input. So what we will do, you go to the parameters and variables. Beside this plus button, you have this. So create variable, and here you can give the name of variable, and you can choose here single value, interval, range. If it is single value, it's like a parameter. Interval range is like a select option. Here we usually define p underscore sub kunnar type kunnar. Same way here, let's say you want to give document type in the input, then like you give that attribute for which you are creating parameter or select option. We will discuss this, but let me show you now. Right click and data preview. See, it is asking input. Even if you don't give, it will allow us to display output because it's optional. Let's say if I give something, See, I am able to see something now. Okay, so attribute use are used to, sorry, so even if you want, this is like parameter. For example, if I put is mandatory and right click and data preview, you can see this star symbol. If I don't give anything, we can't go further because it's a mandate. If you go for multiple entries, right click and data preview, see I am able to give multiple entries now. And this is like default. If I want to give some default value in the document type, see I can default. And also if you give instead of single value interval, it's like a select options now. See between, and you can give from value and to value. You can also give here range. Range means you can give greater than, less than, all these options. You can also create another variable. You can give the relevant name there and you can mention whether it is for, let's say, sales order number, and you can mention required ones. Now when you test it, you can give both in the input. So variables are like parameters and select options which are used to display the data based on the input. Is it clear about the variables? Any questions? Okay. Now let us see input parameters. So input parameters we can create from here or from here or from here also. So you can create from anywhere, right click new. I am giving some name for input parameter. Here it's like direct means you can give some data type and length. Direct means we can give some data type and length. let's say if you select column, let's say usually in ABAP you create some variables type char 10 like this. If you use column like KNA1 Kunnar, it's the same. It's the same. So we created a input parameter. Let me activate. Now if I right click and data preview, are you able to see the created input parameter here, guys? Whatever input parameter we created, is it prompting us to enter anything?
No,
No, right? Yes.
no.
Yes. So why it is not prompting? Okay. Okay. Now what I will do, I will create a calculated column. For example, you just observe here. If I select any column, see, you can see the double quote. Even if I select calculated column, see the double quote. Even I can select the restricted column. But if I select input parameter, it's not like double quote. If you observe here, everything is in double quote, but only input parameter is coming like this. This means it's a placeholder. Dollar dollar IP1 dollar dollar. It is a placeholder. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a calculated column which concatenates the input parameter plus sales order number. Anyway, when we created only the input parameter, it did not prompt anything, it did not ask us to enter anything. But now we created a calculated column and we used input parameter there. Is it prompting to enter now?
Yes, it was prompted.
For example, here I mentioned, let's say pharma, and if I click OK and raw data, see, you are able to see here pharma, and let's say I want to give auto, means I want to display automobile sales. That's my intention. Now see, so from this what did we understand is input parameters are like placeholders. When you create only input parameters, they don't prompt to enter anything and there is no use of that. But when you use it in calculated column, and also we will discuss tomorrow currency conversions and all. If you use it there, then they are prompted. Even if you go to show log and generate SQL, you can see I can say input parameters are like placeholders and your variables, whatever variables you created, right? They are like where conditions. Your variables are like where conditions. How can I say that? Now I just give some here and I enter something here. Now if you go show log, you can see variable is input parameter is placeholder and whatever variable you use, right? Like they are in where condition. So input parameter is a placeholder, variable is like your parameter select option, which is in where condition. That is the difference between variable and input parameter. If you go to our document, you can see a lot of documentation. Yeah, in the document HANA modeling, we find all the documents. In the modeling document only we find variables, input parameters, difference, see, and also how to create variable, everything. Go through the document as well. So tomorrow we will complete analytical view and Friday we start calculation view. Okay. So I will give some assignment tomorrow. Okay. Uh, sorry, calculation view. Okay. Tomorrow we are able to complete analytical view. Tomorrow we will discuss currency conversions, hierarchies, and how to download, how to use our modeling views in the reporting tools. All these things we will discuss tomorrow. Okay. So any questions? Any questions? So mostly next week, Monday, we will complete modeling and we start HANA migration just one class and then you open SQL two classes. Okay. After that again, ABAP and HANA will be started. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.